Hey, Satnam. Welcome to video number 2 for the Vedic Astrology Happenings for the month of December. If you haven't had a chance to watch the previous video, go ahead and give that a watch. I'm going to otherwise just jump right in and pick up where we left off to keep this rolling. So I'll share my screen here. All right. So where we had left off previously was right around the time of the new moon, which again was a little bit difficult. But the good news is that starting on basically the 13th and more or less through the rest of the month, the moon will now be waxing. And when the moon is waxing, it's growing in its potency, in its strength, in its illumination, which makes sense. When you see a full moon, it looks very different than the new moon. So we've got the moon sort of growing in her greatness. And as I said, I love this because it's gonna lead into that winter solstice, which the moon has a lot to do with intuition, with more of that feminine, receptive, sensing nature. And this is very much, what the winter solstice is connected to. So I like this waxing moon carrying into most of the rest of the month. Now, what's going to happen on the 17th is the sun is going to be, or the 16th, excuse me, the sun is going to be moving out of Scorpio and into Sagittarius. So the sun will be changing signs. And as we talked about at the end of last video, Mercury is now retrograde. So Mercury is sort of moving backwards. It appears to be moving backwards in the sky. And eventually we're going to have this exchange where Mercury and the sun are sort of right on top of each other, which isn't the best thing for Mercury. We call that being combusted. When a planet is very close to the sun due to the sun's heat, that other planet that's close to it sort of gets burned up, if you will. So not the best thing, but just something to kind of be aware of, again, when it comes to communication, with exchange, with technology, all of things which Mercury has to do with. So that's not going to happen until the 22nd, but we're kind of starting to move in that direction as the sun is going to now be in the same sign as Mercury in Sagittarius when it moves out of Scorpio on the 16th. So that's going to happen. And, the only other day that I kind of had in my eye as potentially difficult from an emotional perspective would be the 17th. If you see this up here, especially on the 17th, I'm talking US time, especially about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but sort of this whole day or, half day prior and half day after. The moon is going to be what they call conjunct with Saturn. You can see they're basically right on top of each other. And again, Saturn is not the friendliest planet in the world, and the moon is a very sensitive planet. And all of this is happening in Aquarius, where Saturn is very, very, very strong. Then to add one layer on top of that, we have Mars, who's sort of sending its energy right into that equation. So again, to me, this is a day of self-nourishment, self-care, kind of tenderness, taking care of yourself, and just really honoring any of those feelings that may arise, especially with Saturn and Mars' kind of influence onto the moon. But again, nothing to be too concerned of. These things happen, and always they're teaching us something. That's always the question: is what is this really about? And can I let go of it? Can I drop back into myself, into my practice? Can I shift into a state of service, of selflessness, of concern for others, which is really what this sign of Aquarius is all about. So I think this is a good day for some kind of what we would call a remedial measure, some kind of a service, to offset some of these difficult energies of Saturn and Mars. Good day to be of service to someone else. Do some karma yoga, some seva yoga, some kind of an offering, giving. Um, Good day for kind of purification in that respect. And then, as we move ahead, nothing really until the next week or so. We've got Venus that's going to move out of Libra and into Scorpio, where it will be connected with Mars. This is going to happen basically on the 26th, so about the day after Christmas. So now, or on the 25th, actually. So right on Christmas Day. Spicy combination, Venus and Mars together. It's a passion combination in Scorpio. Again, I think it's fitting, on this day of whatever your faith. I'm not speaking of this from a religious perspective, but on this day of Christ consciousness, of the birth of really divine awareness within all of us, the merging of spirit and matter. This could not be a better combination than Mars and Venus together in Scorpio. So again, whatever your practice is, whatever your beliefs are, whatever you're doing on that day, I do hope you do tune in with that unconditional love, of which Venus is the reflection of, and really the oneness that we do all share, and the divinity that does lie within us and within everybody else, and just try to see that, to the extent that one is able. It's always a practice, but it's a good day to practice, especially if you go to the supermarket or you do any shopping. Look out. It's always kind of an intense shopping day on this day of Christmas. Oh man. And then just looking ahead a little bit, we've got a cool full moon that's going to be happening in Gemini on the 26th. I like this full moon. It's in Gemini, which is a very curious, a very inquisitive, mental kind of air sign. And we have Mercury, who's kind of in the mix, affecting the moon where it is from Sagittarius. And the sun is in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. So, again, to me, this is a very curious kind of full moon, seeking full moon, and using the mind again for sort of higher exploration, higher study. The only other big thing, that's kind of going to be happening this month is that we're going to have Mars moving out of Scorpio pretty much right after this full moon. I think it happens on the 27th. Mars moves out of Scorpio, and this is a cool to me, this is a cool change because, again, Sagittarius is a fire sign, Mars is a fire planet, the sun is a fire planet, and they're in the fiery sign of Sagittarius. So there's this strong, kind of fiery energy. But again, Sagittarius is not like an aggressive warrior, it's more of a warrior for truth. And what makes this whole thing like even better is that Jupiter is affecting it. Jupiter is sending its gaze into Sagittarius, which it rules. And you've got this cool exchange between Jupiter and Mars. Mars is in Sagittarius, which Jupiter rules, and Jupiter is in Aries, which Mars rules. So you've got this exchange between Jupiter and Mars, and they are friends. They like each other. And so I think, again, this is a good time for really putting one's will, Aries, Mars, drive, force, ambition, desire in service to something higher, which is Jupiter, wisdom. They call Jupiter Guru, the dispeller of ignorance, the dispeller of darkness. And so we're getting these two kind of intermixing with one another. And so again, to me, as we move into 2024, we close out 2023, it's a time to tune in with what are my aspirations? What are my deeper drives? What do I want? What do I really, really want? And how can I ask also, what does life want for me? And how can I serve life? How can I be in service to something higher, something greater than myself? I use my will, I use my actions, but I try to tune in with the higher wisdom. So I think it's a great note to end 2024 on, 2023 on, excuse me. And a couple other things happening, but nothing, of major significance. And so with this, I just want to thank you. It's been pretty much a whole entire year now of doing these Vedic astrology forecasts. It was my commitment. One of my commitments for 2023 was to do this every month. There was a month or two I missed, but I also doubled up for a lot of months. So I like to think I put out more than 12, even if it wasn't every month. And I got a lot out of doing this. I hope you did too. Um, and if there's anything you'd like to see, anything different in 2024, I do think I'm going to be taking a pause from this particular forecast to do something a little bit different that I'm really excited about. Part of my new aspirations. How can I be of service in 2024? But this was a great endeavor. And if there's anything that you need, any questions, any clarifications, any practices, please let me know how I can support. But all the best as you close out 2023. And until next time, Sadhana.